Hey, welcome back, Math Gang. Today we are taking a look at some fraction operations. So while we are getting ready for topic 7 with rational numbers, fractions are rational numbers, and just want to review some things about, things that we do with fractions: add, subtract, multiply, divide them. So real quick, let's take a look at some things now. What we want to do at the end of this is for you to be able to say that I can collaborate with a partner to apply operation rules for fractions. And those operations are, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing those fractions. And we're going to use some Agile Mind animations to review those operations. So let's take a look at our first one with adding fractions. This should be really interesting. I'm waiting for it for just a second here. All right. Now, here we are. Let's use this animation. I'm going to show you how to use this because you're going to be doing this on your own with your computer. And so what we're going to do is we are going to create a fraction. So the first thing we have to do is use our slider here to create a fraction. I'm going to use, how about, I'm going to use 3 as my denominator, and then I'm going to pick my numerator. How about 2/3? Why not? 2/3 for that one. And then I'm going to pick another fraction, 4ths, and how about just 1/4? Okay. All right, and so now we're looking at 2/3 plus 1/4, and now I'm going to hit the sum button, and it's going to help us add them. Now the first thing we have to do is determine what is our least common denominator, or what is the least common multiple of our two denominators, 3 and 4. What's the smallest number that 3 and 4 will both go into? Let's see, I think that's going to be 12. So I'm going to move this slider over to 12 because I know that's the smallest number that 3 and 4 will both go into. And now if you'll notice, here's 2/3. And at the end of 2/3, we start our 4ths, and here's 1/4. And so 2/3 plus 1/4 is how much? Well, let's look at this bar. This is, right now it's 0/12, but let's move our numerator slider until it lines up with the last bar. There we are. Okay, now I want you to see how this lines up with the last part there. See? That is all lined up. So now we're going to check our answer to see if that's right. This is saying it's 11/12. Let's find out. So we click check answer. So 2/3 times 4/4 is 8/12. And 1/4 times 3/3 is 3/12. See how it's finding the common denominator of 12? And so we end up with 8/12 plus 3/12 equals 11/12. And so, since 2/3 is 8/12, 1/4 is 3/12, 2/3 plus 1/4 is 11/12. How great is that? And so now what we're going to do, I'll reset that, and I'm going to go back here, and I want you, either by yourself or with your partner, to go ahead and work through these. So our first one is 2/5 plus 1/4. So I'm going to go back, 2/5, 1/4. Remember that. So now I'm going to go, I've got to do my denominator first. Remember it was 2/5, so I've got to move my denominator to 5. And I move this to 2, so that's 2/5. And I believe it was 1/4, right? So 1/4. And move that to 1. And so 2/5 plus 1/4. And then you're going to hit the sum button, and you're going to work through that problem and the next few, the next 3 after that, with your partner at your table area or whatever, and or by yourself. That's fine too, because chances are you're watching this because you weren't here for the live lesson. All right, so after you've done that, go through and work through these, write your answers in your math notebook, and then when you're all done, what I want you to do is to write down, what is the rule for adding fractions? What is the rule when we add fractions? What are we supposed to do? Okay? And so after that, once you've finished those and written the rule for adding fractions, what you will do is you'll go through and you're going to subtract fractions. And we're going to use that same animation. Now, if you were here, let's say you log out. You hit that button and you log out. And then you go back to this. Okay, I'm going to look at the subtract fractions animation. You click that. And it's going to take you to the Agile Mind page. Or you think it's going to. I thought it was going to. I'm going to get rid of that. But you'll notice it's still adding. So what I have to do is I have to click on this 2 right here. And that 2 takes me to subtraction. Okay? And so with subtraction, we're going to use these same fraction bars. We have to create our first fraction. So, I don't know. How about I'm going to use 5 as my denominator and 3 as my numerator. So 3/5. And from 3/5, I'll set fraction 1. Got to push that button. Now I'm going to set my second fraction. And let's see. I'm going to go 1, 2. So 2 for my denominator. And how about 1/2? Okay, so my second fraction is set. Now I'm going to find the difference. All right, first thing I have to do is find the common denominator. What's the common denominator of 5 and 2? Well, we know that that should be 10. So because 5 times 2 is 10, that's an easy one. All right, 5 times 2. And then now I have to subtract. So 3/5 minus 1/2. Well, what's that going to be? Looks like, so when I line these up, you'll notice here's 3/5 and I'm subtracting 1/2. The difference between them should be in this space right here. And that looks like that right there. And it's going to be 1/10. So here's our first one, though. We're subtracting this minus this. And so the difference between them should be this little space here. And that looks like 1/10. I'm going to check my answer. Oh, I hope that's right. So 3/5 times 2 over 2 is 6/10. Okay? And 1/2 times 5 over 5 is 5/10. And 6/10 minus 5/10 is 1/10. So 3/5 minus 1/2 is 1/10. And then I reset it, and I'm going to try another one. So now when you go back to OneNote, okay, you and your partner or by yourself, whichever you're most comfortable with, you're going to practice these 4 problems here using your laptop. 4/7 minus 1/2. Use the animation and set it up. If you need help, you got to figure it out. Okay, so those are your subtraction. Now, when you get to the end, what is the rule for subtracting fractions? What do you have to do in order to subtract fractions correctly? And write that down. The rule for subtracting fractions is, and then finish the sentence. All right. When you've done that, then you'll move on to the multiplying fractions. Now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to exit out of there. Go back to here. I'm going to click the multiplying fractions animation. And it will take me to the Agile Mind page where I'm going to be looking at multiplying fractions. Now I like this one. We're going to use this to demonstrate multiplying fractions. We're going to use an area model. It says Camila is going to demonstrate 2/5 of 2/3. 2/5 times 4/3. Oh my gosh, sorry. 2/5 times 3/4. So she's going to start by cutting the cake vertically into fourths and then frosting 3 of those sections. So I'm going to hit play. You can see slice, slice, and slice. Now, she has sliced it into 4 sections, and now she is frosting 3 of them. Okay, she has frosted 3/4 of the cake. Next, she is going to cut the other direction into 5 slices that way. And she is putting sprinkles on 2 of them. See, 5 rows, and 2 of those rows are sprinkled on. So then you can see here the intersection of the 2 areas of 3/4, which is frosted, and 2/5, which is sprinkled. How many sections are sprinkled all together? out of the total? Well, let's find out. So that would be 2/5 times 3/4. I'm going to hit play, counting up how many sections there are total on the cake. There are 20 total pieces. And how many of those 20 have sprinkles and chocolate frosting? Yep, 6 of them. So 6/20 of the cake is frosted. So 2/5 times 3/4 is 6/20. Can we simplify that? Let's find out. Sometimes we can. So 2/5 times 3/4, or 3/4 times 2/5. That's 6/20, right? However, 6 is 2 times 3. 20 is 2 times 10. So if we divide both of those by 2, we get 3/10. And 3/10 is the amount of cake simplified that was frosted and sprinkled. So 3/4 times 2/5 is 6/20. Divide both by 2, and you get 3/10. So now we can try using this model for demonstrating multiplication. So the first thing you're going to do is pick your denominator. I'm going to pick 4. And the denominator for the other one, let's see, I'm going to go with 5. Okay, so, and then I'm going to move my slider. So how about, what is 3/4 times 2/5? Wait a minute, we already know that one. How about 3/4 times 4/5? So the intersection of those two spots is, how many purples are there now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 of them out of a total of how many? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 12/20. Now let's check that. Look at that, it checked out all right. See? Look at that, we did it. We did it. Okay? So, there you have it. Good work. Do you see how the numerical representations connects the model? Let's try a few fractions for practice. Okay. Okay, well, now that we're all done with that one, we can kind of reset the thing. Let's reset these back to nothing. And then let's go and check to see which ones we're supposed to do. How about 1/4 times 3/4? Okay, so we're going to go 1/4. Oops, and then this one has to be fourths also. 1/4 times 3/4. Okay, so how many purples are there? Well, there are 3 out of how many total? There are 16 total. All right. See, there you go. So now all you have to do is go ahead and reset everything and try again. Practice a few of these on your own. And then when you're done, after you've done these, written your answers, what pattern do you see? And then after you recognize the pattern, what is the rule for multiplying fractions? Okay? Great. Once you've completed that, let's move on to the dividing fractions animation. Now I can close this out and then go back here, dividing fractions animation. I'm going to click that again. It's going to take me back to AgileMind. And when it does, I'll get rid of this. And this takes me to the division. So let's take a look at dividing. So denominator first. How about, what is 3/4 divided by 1/3? Okay, let's model the division. Click that. So 3/4 divided by 1/3. When dividing fractions, it's helpful to find the least common multiple of the denominators. Now that's probably different than what you're used to. So look at our denominators. What's the least common multiple of 3 and 4? Well, let's Let's see. 3 and 4. Well, that's going to be 12. Okay. And so now they have a common denominator. 3/4 is 9/12. 1/3 is 4/12. Let's find the quotient. So it'll be 9/12 divided by 4/12. Well, what is 9 divided by 4? Or 9 over 4? Well, 9 over 4. 4 goes into 9 2 times. That's 8. So we have 1 left over out of 4. So 9/4 is a great fraction. 2 and 1/4 is a mixed number. Now let's try a new problem. And you'll go back and you'll try the problems that I've sorted out for you to try. 3/8 divided by 1/2. Start with that one. Go back. So 3/8 divided by what? 1/2. 3/8 divided by 1/2. And we'll model the division, and it's going to tell you everything that you need to do. And you'll do this process on your own. It's a very interesting process that they've come up with. Okay? So after you've done that for the 4 problems I've given you to do you see a pattern? What do you see when you divide the fractions? What is the pattern that you see? Can you come up with a rule for dividing fractions? I bet you can. Okay? Now, I'm going to close out of that again. Go back down here. Now I'm going to do the random practice exit ticket. What does this look like? It's going to take us to this page right here in Agile Mind. I'll get rid of this. And it says, in this game, there are 36 cards. Now what you're going to do is you're going to click on the deck of cards that you see moving there. And it's going to deal out some cards. You can play this by yourself or with a partner. It doesn't make any difference. So it's going to deal you some cards, and then you're going to hit the spinner. What operation are you going to be performing? This says, I'm subtracting. Okay, so I am going to subtract, let's see, 6/7 minus 7/8. Uh-oh, it says player 1, you have to rearrange your cards to subtract a small fraction from a large fraction. I guess I did a bad job. Okay, well I'm going to put 7 here and 8 here. Oh, look at that. It's going to let me do that one. So now I have to figure out what is, this is up to you to figure out what is the answer. Okay, and player 2, or you could still just be player 1. You're going to go, okay, well, let's see. Oh man, 9/9 minus 4/9. And then, what's your answer going to be? It's up to you to sort it out, you and your partner, or you by yourself, whatever. Try a few of them out. I need you to try different operations. Write them down in your math notebook and show them to me when you're done. All right, have a great day. Don't forget to be awesome.